Hello and welcome to this Mind Hour session. Today, we will be discussing one of the most fascinating topics of mathematics, quadratic equations. The idea of quadratic equations and its applications in our day-to-day lives is quite interesting. In this chapter, we will be discussing what quadratic equations are, one of the methods to solve quadratic equations, and various practical problems in mathematics. A quadratic equation is made use in a variety of fields. Quadratic equations are used in the field of physics for describing the motion of an object. It is used in the field of finance for assessing the profits, losses, etc. An equation which contains one unknown or variable with highest power 2 is called a quadratic equation. So friends, what will be the degree of a quadratic equation then? Yes, the degree of a quadratic equation is 2. Note, a quadratic equation is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now, let's see some basic definitions and terms related to quadratic equations. The term in a quadratic equation without the unknown c is called the absolute term. A quadratic equation which contains both the first and the second powers of the unknown quantity is called a complete quadratic equation. A quadratic equation which contains only the second power of the unknown is called an incomplete quadratic equation. In a quadratic equation, the unknown can take a maximum of 2 values. These values are called the roots of the quadratic equation. Suppose we are given a quadratic equation. We have already seen that the unknowns in a quadratic equation will take 2 values. Okay, what does this mean? This means if we substitute any one of these 2 specific values for unknowns, it will satisfy the given quadratic equation. That is, the left-hand side of the equation will be equal to the right-hand side of the equation. Now we will learn how to find the value of these unknowns when a particular quadratic equation is given to us. Let's proceed step by step. Step 1. First analyze which form the equation is given in. Whichever form it is given in, it doesn't matter because we change it into the general form. And the general form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Next, we factorize the left-hand side of the thus obtained equation. Next, after that, we will equate each of the factor thus obtained to 0 and find the value of unknown for each case. Let's solve some quadratic equations. 2x squared minus 3 is equal to 5x. As you can see, the given quadratic equation is not in the general form. So we will first convert it into the general form. Therefore, the equation will become 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 is equal to 0. What is the next step? Yes, the next step is to factorize the quadratic equation. We can use the method of splitting the middle term for factorizing the equation. On splitting the middle term, we get 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 is equal to 2x squared minus 6x plus x minus 3 is equal to 0. Now taking the common and splitting it into factors, we get 2x multiplied by x minus 3 plus 1 multiplied by x minus 3 which is equal to 0. We would get 2x plus 1 multiplied by x minus 3 is equal to 0. Equating each factors to 0 and solving, we get 2x plus 1 is equal to 0, which is x is equal to minus half, and x minus 3 is equal to 0, which is x is equal to 3. Therefore, x can take the values minus half and 3. It was pretty simple. Let's solve a few more questions. X plus 1 divided by x is equal to 2, 1 by 2. As you can see, the given equation is not in the general form. So we will first convert it into the general form. First, we will multiply the entire equation with x. Thus, the equation will be of the form x squared plus 1 is equal to 5 divided by 2 multiplied by x. Now we can easily convert it into the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. On simplifying, we get 2x squared minus 5x plus 2 is equal to 0. Our next step is to factorize the quadratic equation. on factorizing 2x square minus 5x plus 2 is equal to 0 using the splitting the middle term method, we get 2x minus 1 multiplied by x minus 2 is equal to 0. Next step is to equate each factor to 0 and solve. On solving, we get the solution as x is equal to half and x is equal to 2. Therefore, the solutions of quadratic equations are half and 2. Let's move on to the next problem. 3x minus 7 divided by 2x minus 5 is equal to x plus 1 divided by x minus 1. The given equation is definitely not in the general form. So our first step is to convert it into the general form. For that, we will cross multiply and simplify the given equation, which gives us 3x minus 7 multiplied by x minus 1, which is equal to x plus 1 multiplied by 2x minus 5, which would be 3x square minus 10x plus 7 is equal to 2x square minus 3x minus 5, which would give us x square minus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. Now we factorize and solve the equation using the splitting the middle term method. X minus 4 multiplied by x minus 3 is equal to 0. Therefore, the solutions of the given quadratic equation is 3 and 4.